That was a slow start getting all the big trees cut down.
Oh, yeah.
They were massive.
Oh my God.
So sad.
I thought the people would wake up. Supposedly that. Maybe they get replacement trees.
Yes, I'm sure they weren't happy.
No, you know, they weren't happy.
But what do you do? That sewer line runs in a weird spot.
Middle of the lawn.
Middle of the lawn. It's not near the street.
So much traffic.
They would have killed the trees. They would have been,
Yeah, they would have.
over time, they would have died.
And then they would be responsible for taking the tree down.
Right.
They should be happy who's it for.
Yes, and are planting new ones.
It says some of those were brought on now to our company, which is the hell out of it.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
She didn't. So. Yeah.
Anybody have,
And then, or we can start when she gets here.
Did you talk to Kristen?
I did not.
I didn't see her this morning, which is odd. Usually she's at work.
So we could start, and then when she comes, she could just say.
Yeah, we can start, we can skip that, or I gotta do the budget anyway.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order at 8:04. And in your packet are the September 11th board meeting minutes. If you have a chance to look at that, I'll take a motion to accept those. I'll make motion. Motion by Bob,
I'll second.
second by Janine, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And we'll go right to administrative director's report.
Well, let me do the budget first. Under the treasurer's report, you have this in your packet. It's got the yellow lines on it. You always kind of present it as a draft, and then based on your feedback and maybe some feedback I get from town, I'll bring a final one back next month. From a revenue side, which is really always the challenging side, you'll see from administrative fees, it's probably the CD Plastics fee, assuming that would not close prior to 2026, and quote unquote one other couple project administrative fees. As far as land sales, it would be the 2 acres to CD Plastics, and then potentially, because we've had some preliminary discussions, Lucky 8 interesting in purchasing 1.4 acres. I've got the interest rate slightly low. You'll see in financials today that may be low given what our interest was, although our balance has gone up. So that's kind of the revenue side, although we haven't recognized some of the FAST grants, so I threw a piece of that in there as well. The more issues are on the expense side. I have upped the administrative equipment because of new office furniture purchases that we're in the midst of making and figuring out town versus IDA. Obviously, there'll be some IDA ones. The Laserfiche, the town clerk for their record storage uses Laserfiche, and Judy and I have talked for probably a year and a half, and given all that's gone on, haven't taken a serious look at that, but we would benefit significantly from being able to take all of our records and do a much better job than our e-filing. Laserfiche really allows you to search based on keywords and a whole host of other things. So that's in there as a question mark at this point.
Is it just a storage fee, or do they actually put it on?
No, they actually just put it
So
on.
you give them hard copies.
And the marketing and promotion, the only thing I would say is that we are right now actually in the midst of updating the IDA park brochure. I'm not sure what that fee will be. The other things are not new. The one question I need to ask the town is, I'm not sure what they've proposed for staff increases. So at this point, the attorney,
4.5,
is it gonna be 4.5 again?
that's what it is, well.
Okay. Alright. Well, I'll adjust some of those, because you'll see here, I just have it now, here at 2%. Same thing for financial services, same thing for management fee. The only other thing that's in here that I want to bring to your attention is, not knowing timing of the transition from my position. I do have a chunk of dollars in there for consulting slash administrative director transition. When I came on, there was no such line, and I donated 2.5 weeks of time trying to get up to speed with Mark. And we may very well have completed orientation and transition by the end of the year, but that's kind of been there as a placeholder. And other than that, there's $1,000 for we'd eventually, to some degree, mail out that new Idea Park brochure. And the numbers that we always sort of have sway in are really the construction and development of land and then the purchase of land and right of way. Those would be fees that would tend to be going to Wendell for the FAST grant, but I really use those frankly to balance the budget. We always do present a balanced budget. So I'll certainly update the 4.5. I'll talk a little bit more to Judy about the Laserfish, but other questions anybody has at this point?
I just look at what the purchase.
I would say yes, but I would say, he really needs to kind of complete his relocation just to the main building. He's not done that yet. I checked in with him 2 weeks ago just to see if there was sort of an issue. And he didn't claim there was an issue. I knew it'd be late because in July and August, he traveled all over the country to these Land Rover and Range Rover clubs promoting his business, if you will. But there's definitely been a downtick in activity. So I think until he's in there and functioning, it'd be hard to say. But he's definitely expressed an interest. It'd be unlikely that it would work for anybody else other than him, given it's stuck between Yahoo and it's not almost big enough to be a buildable lot. So I think we did. I think we did do our standard 30. Certainly not discount for something small like that. So, all right. Well, I'll make those upgrades, and you'll see it again in November to have the board officially adopted. So, thanks.
We will do the official treasurer's report, Kristen.
All right. Okay, so taking a look at the balance sheet, you see going back to August, you see a couple highlighted items there. I think we had discussed the fact that the 5-year option we thought would be revenue, but a piece of information came up in that if they do exercise the option at 15,000 goes toward the land. So it really should be a deferred revenue until they either purchase the land or they don't and we get the money. So that was moved off of the balance sheet or off of the income statement to the balance sheet. So if you take the next page to September, you do see that we have a couple not new, but our liabilities have kind of increased with the stop payments on the Shotcreek GM litigation that we're just kind of letting sit there for a little while, and the 5-year option purchase for SEPA Powers. And then we do have a couple payables for SEPA Mod 8 for third quarter 2025, which if you flip to the next page, on the September 30th income statement, you'll see interest earnings of $4,259, expenses of $16,592 for a net loss for the month of $12,333. What a year-to-date net income of $32,508. you know, the management fee and the attorney's fees quarterly are booked, but nothing really out of the ordinary for that. And then the final page of.
Use the checks as standalone. Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay. And then on our cash, you see that we have a total cash balance of $1.9 million, about 156 in checking and 1.8 in savings. Any questions on the statements? I'm gonna present those for approval.
Motion to accept the financial statements as presented. So, motion by Dan, second by Terry, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and then if we take a look at the Town of Rockport October 2025 bills, which is a standalone, not attached because there was a couple additions, but requesting total October payments of $17,511. The larger items again are, you know, the third quarter for Seaman Law, third quarter for Kate Carter. We had brush hogging at IDA Park, and then our monthly contract for the Town of Rockport. So I present these coming from recommendation.
All right, motion by Kristen to pay the bills,
I'll sign.
second by Darlene, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Kristen. And we'll move on to administrative director's report. Tom.
Sure. Just office update. You know, we're kind of our project teams every other week, and you know, we're still talking about a kind of November 15th date. We have finalized both the AV and office furniture bids. Held up just due to lack of response yet is the signage decision for the building. I think that if anybody's touring it today, can do that, or certainly can do it next month. It'll be 99% done at that point. I did submit a small, I think it was $50,000 grant to T-Mobile for a portion of what we had tried to get for the Day Road Park earlier in the pavilion. So probably won't hear from that or the other one I had done for the truck for the sewer and water until November, I believe. In your packet, there is a updated park map. It's folded over, so you can have a large one. I'll just point out that besides, you know, labeling all the buildings up to speed, whether that's, you know, Integrity Machining or Woodsmith Fence or Lucky 8, even the custom laser. So all the facilities are now properly labeled, even H5 data centers, if you will. In addition, land purchases like the Weisenberg purchase, the Siva Wind purchase, and purchased the 2 acres kind of committed to CV Plastics are on there as well, so you can really see what's available and or not available, at least at this point, other than whatever building Weisenberg eventually does. You know, it should stay accurate for hopefully quite a while, so keep that for your records.
I'll be doing on your own.
Tom can probably talk about that.
I'll talk to you
He does. Yeah, we have some of the giant posters of these that are already put in frames. So we relocate back to an office, we'll put those back up. Yeah, one in the board as well. We did see, I think, the article that I sent around that Union Sun did, really on the kind of the IDA park status and having all the buildings filled, and then it chose to, because they had just recently opened, it just recently restarted production, so the main focus of the article ended up being Integrity Machining, which actually nothing wrong with that. It's good publicity for them, for the park as well. So that's done and in the hopper, if you will. I did with some of the leadership here in town attend the Kaleida Outpatient Center open house, which was well done. And then in kind of I call it my welcome wagon roll for the town, I did stop by Starbucks and welcome them to town. They actually had an interest in cardboard recycling, and they circled back and gave them contact for Modern and showed them the type of bins that Modern has for cardboard recycling. So they don't have room for the standard compressor type statement. But so yeah, and then just this is just an FYI, but because it probably isn't the case for most of you, but the IDA offices are closed on Election Day and Veterans Day. I kind of refer to it as No Work November, because we did 2 days after Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving. So, but no, that's it for me.
That artwork was pretty impressive with the light and some walls.
That's embarrassing. I can't tell you. Probably because of my healthcare background, I was way more interested in the exam rooms and let me see your tech. Yeah, that's terrible. No. It's a little overbuilt. I mean, what they did was they split the building in thirds and gave almost a third, set the lab aside. Third for primary care, third for OBGYN, cardiology. So yeah, definitely has some room for expansion. They talked about a few other specialties that they would fit in the back on a less regular basis. Just in general, you all see the building outside how well it's done. It's just equally well done inside. Evidently, some really nice art.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I gotta go back. I gotta go back. Right. Yeah.
I ran into Rob Graves.
He was there.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Tom. And we'll move on to attorney's report, Tom.
So the Woodsmith file is closed. So you may recall that outsourced legal work at Xander and Steve and her was fine on that. They were on the other side of me when we did the closing on the solar project. So some intimacy with this team. They do great work. They brought that to a close. Of course, there's no additional cost to the applicant for you guys or anything like that. For that, but it did close. I've reached out. Kevin said he's going to work with us on the integrity pilot as well, but it's been moving slowly so far. The last couple of weeks, I haven't heard much today. I don't know if they've had communications between the two sides on that. So we'll see how that moves forward. You may already know, integrity already closed out mortgage, at least for the property mortgage. And maybe you saw the article that Tom sent around. They had a nice article. So they're moving forward. I would expect to move soon. I would like to update you on filing that. Probably appropriate to do an executive session with consultation with your attorney, just in terms of how they're progressing with they need a curb cut from the state DOT side. Give me an update on that when we go into the executive, which might be now unless there's only business to cover.
All right, we'll take a motion to move into executive session, consultation with attorney. I'll make it. Motion by Bob. Second by Terry. All in favor? They do a new one.
But and in separate documents, not like full part. Yeah, but sure, I can. Yeah, both with the buffers and everything. So yeah,
That's what it is.
sure.
All right, next meeting is 8 a.m. Thursday, November 13th. Tom, know if you're able to attend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 99% done.
All right, and I guess I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Motion by Darrell, second by Kristen.
So December meeting might be.
I think it's